So companies are pouring billions of dollars into these powerful AI tools, all to make us more productive. But what if the biggest thing stopping us from using them isn't about skill or access or even training, but just plain fear? In this explainer, we are going to dive into the really surprising reason AI adoption is lagging. And, well, it all comes down to a hidden professional cost that nobody's talking about.
Okay, just imagine this for a second. You're a senior leader at a big tech company. You've just rolled out this amazing, revolutionary AI coding assistant. I mean, this thing should be a total game changer. But a year goes by, you check the data, and you see this. Only 41% of your engineers have even bothered to try.
It's a real head-scratcher, right? You've spent a fortune on this thing. The tool itself is incredibly powerful. It promises massive productivity boosts. So why on earth are most of your highly paid, highly skilled employees just ignoring it? It really makes you wonder what's going on beneath the surface.
And look, this is not just some quirky tech industry problem. According to Pew Research, 2 years after ChatGPT basically changed everything, only about 16% of American workers are actually using AI on the job. And get this, a whopping 91% are allowed to use it. Now, the easy answer is to blame a skills gap, but the real story, it's a lot more human than that. So, to really get to the bottom of this mystery, a group of researchers came up with a simple but frankly brilliant experiment to figure out what was actually holding people back.
Here's how it worked. They got over 1,000 engineers to review a piece of Python code. Now, this is the really critical part. The code was exactly the same for everybody. The only thing that changed was the story. Half the group was told an engineer wrote it with some help from an AI. The other half was just told an engineer wrote it. That's it. Then they asked everyone to rate how competent they thought the engineer was.
And the results? Well, they were crystal clear. And honestly, kind of unsettling. They point to this powerful, invisible force that's shaping how we act in the office. Get this. When the reviewers thought an engineer had used AI, they rated that person's competence almost 10% lower. Just let that sink in for a moment. For producing the exact same quality of work, the simple mention of AI help was enough to slap a huge penalty on that person's reputation. The code was fine. It was the person behind it they suddenly doubted.
The researchers even gave this a name. They call it the competence penalty. It's basically the hit your professional reputation takes in the eyes of your colleagues just for using an AI tool. And this penalty, this is the key that unlocks the entire puzzle of why AI adoption is so low.
But here's where it gets even worse. The penalty isn't the same for everyone. The study found it was more than twice as bad for female engineers. When reviewers thought a woman used AI, her competence rating dropped by a shocking 13%. For a man who submitted the exact same AI-assisted work, it was only a 6% drop. This points to a much deeper, really troubling bias. You know, this isn't just about people's feelings or some petty office politics. This competence penalty has real, tangible, and very expensive consequences for the entire company.
Yeah, let's talk about the money. For the company in this study, that low adoption rate translated to a minimum loss of 2.5% of their annual profit. I mean, for a big company, that's hundreds of millions of dollars in value just vanishing every year. All because employees are afraid of the professional backlash from using a tool that's supposed to help them.
And the damage doesn't even stop there. See, when employees are afraid to use the official company-approved AI tools, they don't just give up on AI. No, they go underground. They start using unauthorized shadow AI tools. And that opens up huge security holes and compliance nightmares. It totally undermines any responsible AI policies. And, like we just saw, it makes existing workplace inequalities even worse.
So why is this penalty so much worse for women in tech? Researchers point to something called social identity threat. Basically, when someone from a group that's already unfairly stereotyped as being less competent in a field, like women in tech, uses AI, it's not seen as being strategic. Instead, some people see it as proof that the negative stereotype is true, which just reinforces their bias.
And this quote from the research just nails it. What looks like people just being stubborn or slow to adopt new tech is actually something much more logical. They are making a calculated decision. They're anticipating that competence penalty and they're avoiding AI to protect their careers.
It's a completely rational act of self-preservation. Okay, so the situation might sound a bit bleak, but it is not hopeless. The research also lays out a really clear three-part playbook for how companies can actually dismantle this competence penalty and unlock the real value of their AI investments.
All right, first things first, you have to figure out where the problem is the worst in your own organization. Leaders need to get in there with data and map out their penalty hotspots. Look at teams where there are big demographic imbalances. Dig into promotion data. Are the AI users getting passed over? This isn't about guessing. It's about doing some real data-driven detective work.
But you can't just send out a memo and expect things to change. You have to shift the culture. And the key to that is winning over the influential skeptics and turning them into champions. When respected leaders, and especially senior women, openly use and talk about AI, it gives social cover to everyone else. It makes it feel safe. And things like a 30 days of GPT challenge or an internal makeathon can make using AI feel less risky and, even fun.
And finally, we get to the most direct solution of all. Just change how you evaluate people's work. I mean, if flagging work as AI-assisted is what invites the bias, then stop doing it in performance reviews. It's that simple. Instead, shift the entire focus from how someone got the work done to the quality of the final result. Use objective numbers and blind reviews where the evaluator has no idea who did the work. That way, you're judging the merit, not the method. Now, the really forward-thinking companies are taking this even one step further. Instead of just getting rid of the penalty, they're turning it into a bonus. Companies like Microsoft and Shopify are actively reframing AI skill not as a crutch, but as a critical, high-value skill. They're sending a clear message. Mastering these tools makes you more valuable to us, not less.
And all of this leaves us with one last really important question to think about. The companies that are going to win the AI race won't just be the ones with the fanciest tech. They'll be the ones who build a culture of psychological safety, where everybody feels like they can use these amazing tools without fear. So take a hard look at your own workplace. Is it set up to reward results, or is it accidentally penalizing the very methods that will drive its success in the future?